everyone here on this call and joining today is joining a bit of our Imaginary house history, which is very exciting. And yeah, today we are launching Listen to Your Diddalum, this wonderful book over here. And this book is all around that inkling you get in your stomach just before you do something brave, or that feeling that you get when you do something that you enjoy. But we will be hearing from Emily and Maria down the line more about that. But let me just introduce everyone on the screen so you know who everyone is. My name is Alison and I'm from Imaginary House, and I had the wonderful privilege of working with Maria and Emily to bring this book to life. And then there's Emily.
Hello.
Emily is the amazing author, and all the writing that you're going to be seeing is all done by Emily. And then there's Maria. Hi. And Maria, all the beautiful illustrations in the book were done by Maria. And yeah, so we're going to start with a live reading from Emily, and we are super excited. And I would like to just say, because we are not in person and there's a screen between us, that please, if you have any questions, write them in the comments, and at the end we'll get to all of your questions, or try at least to get to all of your questions. Yeah, and a little bit of an introduction of Emily. Emily is now a published author of 3 books, which is very exciting. Beth, George and the Totem Pole, Lucy and Mum Shoes, and now Listen to Your Diddalum. And you may have also seen her on your screens or in the theatre, because Emily is an amazing actress as well. But yeah, without further ado, Emily, take us away.
I'm very excited to share this story with you. I can't wait. So I'm going to read the story, and then the pictures of the book are going to come up on your screen. Alison's going to share the screen with you, and then I'm going to point out some things in the pictures that maybe parents, you can point out to your little ones, and they can chat about a little bit in between, so that we can really appreciate the detail of Maria's beautiful drawings. So everybody get ready and comfortable. And if you are, I'm hoping you are, then let's go. Listen to your diddalum. Sometimes you feel a noise. It's not loud and it's not scary. Look at that cool little purple creature with wings inside that boy's tummy. It comes from inside, somewhere between your chest and your tummy. So that little cool granny's got a sunshine in her heart. Look at the purple cloud and the rain coming out of this man's diddalum. And if you see on the right corner, there's a little girl with like a squiggly wiggly octopus creature in her tummy. It's like a dancing freckle on your heart. If you listen carefully, everybody listen very, very carefully, you will see that it's not angry and it's not sad. Look, that boy has thrown a ball and it's broken a flower vase. And he's not cross because his diddalum is looking after him. It's not jealous and it doesn't want to worry you. Look at this wonderful party and this friend giving her friend a beautiful birthday present. It's your diddalum. This girl has a beautiful bright blue diddalum that's waving at her from inside her tummy. Sometimes it makes you strong. This boy's got a cool bright red cape of strength diddalum. He's looking after his friend who was being bullied. Sometimes it makes you want to sing. Look at these 2 wonderfully happy ladies singing to the sky with their bright blue diddalums. And sometimes it makes you say, I'm sure, even if you aren't. Look how nervous the girl is before she starts to dance. And then her bright pink diddalum just lets her have the best time. It's a heart sneeze. Whoa, that's a crazy heart sneeze coming out of her heart, bright purple and blue all over the page. It feels like the leaves of a tree blowing in an inside direction. Look how happy the mom and daughter are, hugging with their beautiful autumn leaves flying around inside. It's your name, but not the word part. See if you can spot any letters on this page in the bright green colors around this little girl. It's a warm thing. It's something you love, but you didn't quite know it yet. Look at this boy laughing as he soars on his happy bright red diddlum swing. It's you, but not the body part. How cool are these chaps' bright pink wings flying out behind him? It's your diddalum. Now look at all the diddlums. Every little character's diddlum has come together and they're holding hands and playing together, and they're all supporting and loving each other and feeling safe and happy with their very own diddalum. The end.
Thank you so much, Emily. That was great. Yeah, so diddlums come in all different shapes, sizes, feelings,
Yes.
all the sorts. So yeah, that's wonderful. And it's so great to know that we all have a different diddlum inside of us that helps us along our journey. And Emily, I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you came about with the story and where you drew your inspiration. So yeah, go for it.
Sure. So my sister and I were always close to our grandparents. We called them Gugs and Granddad, but the actual names were Ted and Stella. And we hung out with them a lot when we were kids. And when we were little and feeling a bit scared or anxious or worried or just not quite ourselves, my gran would put us on her lap and bob us up and down and sing us the Diddalum song, which I will sing to you in my amazing singing voice. It goes like this. It goes diddalum, diddalum, and a diddle-diddle-lum, and a diddle-diddle-diddle-lum. Diddlum, diddlum, and a diddle-diddle-lum, and a diddle-diddle-diddle-lum. And then we'd repeat and repeat, and we'd bob up and down on her knee. And I remember just feeling completely safe and loved and brave. And after she'd sung that song a couple of times, I was so ready to take on the next moment and deal with whatever was troubling me. And then as I got older, obviously being an adult's not always so easy, and you have difficult decisions to make and professional decisions to make. I wanted to try and find a way of describing that feeling inside that makes you do what you love and do what you want to do. I wanted to try and describe the thing that made me want to be an actor in the first place, that made me want to be friends with certain people and connect in a certain way. And everyone always said, follow your heart, go with your gut. And I found that not quite specific enough for me. And then I remembered that feeling, that very honest, bold feeling of when I was sitting on my grand's lap. And then I started to call my inner voice my diddlum. And I started to say it to myself and be like, in a tough situation, I would say, well, what would my diddlum do? Like, what should I take the job? Should I go and meet this person? And it started to just become a casual term I used with myself. So I wrote this book because I wanted to share this tool that I had discovered, this like diddlum tool, with other children and with other families, because I've found it such a useful way to start conversations with myself, to remind me who I am, to remind me what matters in my life, to remember where I come from. And it's about taking that moment to yourself to listen quietly and say, what does my diddlum want? What would my diddlum do? Yeah, so I tried to describe my diddlum in this book, and Maria's pictures amazingly like just put my brain on a page. It's just so incredible to work with an artist like you, Maria. That was the hope of this book. And then to share this tool with families so that they could start conversations with kids around difficult feelings, big worries. Is it a worry or is it excitement? Is it fear? Or is it actually like that feeling of something you love but you didn't recognize it yet? Yeah, so the hope is to start conversations and to remind people of all ages of what they love and where they come from and what it means to be them.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. And I think what I'm so excited for today is Maria is going to also be showing you how you can create your own diddlum. And it's so magical because there isn't a formula. There isn't a specific way to do it. It's what you think your diddlum is. So yeah, just also throughout, and just a quick reminder, if you do have questions please write them in the comments. We'd love to answer some of them. And now I'd like to introduce you to Maria. Maria is the wonderful illustrator of Listen to Your Diddalum, and I know that I personally, and I can even speak for Emily, loved working with Maria. It was so great to see these wonderful words come to life through her illustrations. And Maria is also a published author and illustrator. And yeah, some of the books that she's written are Muse and Wolf Problem. And she's also illustrated Penguin and Bear, all fantastic publications. And yeah, without further ado, let me introduce you to Maria.
Thank you. So nice to be here today. Okay, so I'm an illustrator, and a lot of people ask me what that is because it's a bit of a confusing term, but it basically means that I draw pictures for my job, which is the most amazing job in the world, if you ask me. And I draw pictures for all sorts of things, from stationery and the greeting cards you'll give to your mom on her birthday. And I'll draw things that go in art galleries as well. And my favorite thing to draw is children's books, illustrations for children's books, because I really like being able to draw out an entire story. That's the thing that really excites me the most. And I really like working with authors who put these beautiful words down on a page, and then I have to make them into pictures, because it's so interesting and sometimes a bit difficult. And that is actually what really made me want to illustrate Diddalum, is because when I saw the writing, I was really excited about the fact that the words describe something that you can't see. So a Diddalum is your gut feeling. It's not something that you can really explain or see or feel or smell. It's something so abstract, and Emily really brought it to life. And it was a challenge for me to think about how to make something that you can't see visible. So I was so excited when I was approached to illustrate this book, and I'm very grateful that Emily trusted me with her words. So I think it's also a very important thing to talk about, because a lot of books deal with stories about people and what they do, but we don't often find stories about things that we feel that are written in this way. So I think it's so important to discover that gut feeling, that Diddalum, and I hope that this book will help kids and parents do that. Now, just a bit about the process of actually developing the illustrations for this book, because it is making something visible that isn't visible. I had to really scratch my head and sit for a very long time with my pencil and think about how to actually make it work and make it understandable. So in the end of the day, I've decided that, well, the Diddalums are the main characters of the book. And usually the main character is an animal or a person, but here it's these creatures almost that live inside of you, and it's this little inner voice. So I decided that, these are the most important characters, the main characters, and the people who they belong to are also very, very important. But just because of the way this book is written, the focus is on the Diddalum, that the people shouldn't be drawn in too much detail, because we really want the attention to be on the Diddalums themselves. So that's why all of the people in the book are drawn in black and white outlines, because they're important, but we don't want them to grab our attention first. We first want to have a look at the Diddalums. So the Diddalums, I decided to draw in very bright colors, because they are so important, and they are so colorful, and they can give you so much strength and so much joy. So I feel that they should be very colorful creatures. And I drew them with watercolors, which is a very, very fluid, watery paint. And the reason I decided to do that was because a Diddalum can be anything. It's so fluid. It can go from a little ball into a large creature that's bigger than your house in seconds, depending on what you need it to do. So I felt like watercolor was the best way to draw this, something that can change and morph into what you need it to be. So that's basically my explanation of the artworks, and I really hope you enjoy it. And I encourage you, when you're reading the book, to think about what your diddlum would look like, because each of us has one, and yours can be whatever you want it to be and whatever you need it to be. So I'm just going to draw my diddlum now, and we say tutorial, but it makes me feel nervous because I don't want to teach anybody how to draw, because I think everybody can draw, and I don't think there's a right way to do it. So I'm going to draw my diddlum, and hopefully it'll encourage you to draw yours at home. So this is my very wonky easel, which is going to fall over at one point, but we'll just...
It'll make things exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is me, I hope. So you begin with a head. Let me see what I drew for myself here. So I always start with a head because, you know, depending on what the head looks like and the expression on the head's face, I can tell what the body's going to look like. So if I'm angry, then I'll know how to draw the body. And if I'm happy, then yeah. So the head tells me what the body's going to look like. So give myself a bit of hair and a nose and some eyes and a big smile. So I'm happy today. And pink cheeks, of course, and some earrings. And then we'll move on to the body. Now, I'm going to draw my arms like this, and you'll see why in a moment. So this is going to be my one arm. This is my other one. So I'm holding something, but you'll see what in a minute. And then we move on to the legs. Now I find the legs are quite a difficult thing to draw, so please excuse my legs here. Very, very long and skinny like spaghettis. So I'm going to draw my diddlum, and my diddlum is a pencil because I'm an illustrator, and my pencil is something that helps me express myself. So I feel like my diddlum is a big pink pencil. So here we go. And my pencil can draw whatever I need it to draw.
That's awesome.
Okay, then we'll just add a bit onto, and I'm wearing a checkered shirt, so we'll do this. Okay, so I'm going to draw the pattern on my shirt just so that I'm recognizable. And then I will draw how my diddlum helps me. And sometimes my diddlum has to help me see how beautiful the world is around me. Especially in a time like this when we're all stuck at home and we can't go out much. So my diddlum is going to be drawing me really beautiful pictures of flowers and petals. And unfortunately, watercolors don't work very well with an easel, but you get the idea. My diddlum is going to draw me a beautiful, beautiful flower. Okay, so I hope you can all see. And
that's beautiful.
I really hope that this inspires you to go and draw your own diddlum, or make it out of clay, or do whatever you feel brings you joy. And just to start a little announcement, we are going to be running a competition on the Facebook event that you joined from. And we're going to ask you guys to go and draw and create your own diddlums, and then get your mummies and daddies to post them on the Facebook page. And we're going to have a lovely competition, and Alison will explain what you can win and how it's going to work. Thank you guys so much, and I really hope you enjoyed the story.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maria. Sure, I love your diddlum. It's really great. And I also really loved what you said about you created your diddlum with watercolor and pencil, but also if you want, you can also use clay, and you can use all sorts of things. You can take magazines and cut them up and make a collage. There's so many different ways that you can express your diddlum. So with regards to the competition, if you enter your drawing, you'll be automatically entered into the competition. And because everyone's diddlum is super important, and there isn't actually a better or worse diddlum, we are going to be doing a lucky draw. So in that lucky draw, we'll announce the winner, and you'll be getting a lovely Imaginary House hamper of books, more books to feed your imagination. And yeah, I'm just getting in a few questions. Let's see. What inspired you to write the story? So you've answered, I think you've answered a few of those in your previous thing, but if you can just recap in a small
Sure.
sentence.
I think it was the need to try and find a way of describing that feeling inside that makes me who I am and makes me want to be an actor and makes me make certain decisions. I wanted to try and create a specific image and give it a name. And so I thought, what better name than Diddalum, because that was the name of the song that my gran used to sing to me when I was little, the Diddalum song. Yeah, so it was really just trying to be specific about what that feeling is when I feel it, and making sure that I always listen to it.
And let's see, from Oscar and Iris.
My niece and nephew.
Amazing. What color is your diddlum?
I think my diddlum is a bright blue.
Great. And Maria, you've also been asked.
Well, mine has been pink here. I think I'll leave it at that.
Great. That's amazing.
What color is yours, Alison?
I think mine's green, because I love going out into nature, and that inspires me a lot to be creative. Great question.
Thanks, Oscar and Iris.
Yeah, thank you. Here I've got another question from Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Oh no, it's not a question actually. He wants you all to know that he loves you so much.
Thank you, Ben. We love you so much too.
We love you, Ben. Thank you for that. That's amazing. Just spreading some love.
Awesome.
Then we've got for Maria from Emily House. How long did it take to arrive at this concept? It seems very challenging to develop. Did you try lots of ideas first?
I did try a lot of different things. I must say that actually getting to this idea, not even to draw the illustrations, but just to get to the way that it's going to be drawn, took at least 3-4 months. Because the beginning parts of working on a book always take much, much longer for me than actually drawing the illustrations that are going to be in the book, because you have to get the tone and the visuals just right, and make sure that your approach is just right before you actually start drawing. So it took me a good couple of months to get here.
That's great. Thank you for that. I'm just looking at, I've got a question. I think this is for me from Catherine. Can moms and dads draw too for the competition? Of course.
Yes.
100%. I am of a strong belief that we all have an inner child. So please, submit away. It would be wonderful.
I'll to see moms and dads' interpretations as well.
Yeah,
exactly.
That would be awesome.
And if you've got some animals as well, you can also ask them.
Yeah, they can draw theirs.
And then we've got from Godfrey. How long did it take? This is for Emily. How long did it take to write? And what else inspires you to write?
I think I thought about this idea for many months, and I couldn't quite figure out what the best style was to write it. So the thinking about it took many months, but the actual writing of it, once I started, happened very quickly. I wrote in like 2 days. It sort of came out, but it was a bit longer. And then it took time to try and edit it to keep it clean and specific so that it didn't just ramble on a bit. But I often, also whenever I walk, I go for long walks, and a lot of ideas come to me when I'm walking and when I'm outside. And generally the people that I love inspire me to write children's stories. All my books are dedicated to people, and it's often based on experiences I had when I was little, and thoughts I had as a child, and confusion I have as an adult. So generally it's people I love and experiences I've had that make me write.
And do you find it's a lot easier to write from what you know?
I've tried to write sort of more fantastical stories. I've tried all kinds of different versions of things, but it only ever really comes out honestly and right when it's about something very close to me. I sort of don't know any other way to write, I think. So I have tried, but it feels like a bit of a force. It has to come from something very like honest and real, otherwise it doesn't make sense to me.
That's a very, very good point. And Maria, I'd actually also like to ask you that question. Where do you find a lot of your inspiration on what to create?
It's also a lot to do with for me, going out in nature as well, and hanging out with my kids, who really ground me, because they tell me, "Mommy, that's a really, really bad dinosaur that you drew."
Sorry.
I feel very inspired. Also, just browsing through bookshops, I've always found that to be extremely inspirational for me, because if you read something or see something somebody else did, it starts to trigger ideas of what you can do. And so I find it immensely inspirational just browsing through bookshops, which unfortunately we haven't been able to do lately. But that's something that I really like doing as well, to find something to inspire me.
Yeah, that's great. I'm just checking if there are any other questions. On that note of browsing through bookstores, if you want, you can also browse through the Imaginary House online store. If you want to get your hands on Listen to Your Diddalum, you can either go onto our Imaginary House page and you can purchase online, or you can go to your closest bookstore and ask for the book. I think we also, something else is on our website, we also have some of the posters of these beautiful illustrations. And let me just quickly stop sharing. There you go. And as sad as it is, it's time to say goodbye, but thank you all for taking the time to join us today. And thank you, Maria and Emily, for just following that diddalum and creating this wonderful book. Have a lovely weekend, everyone, and keep well and keep safe.